Hey, hi Suman.
Hello, am I audible now? Hello, hello. I cannot hear you guys. Not able to.
Hey Suman, can you hear me? Anybody can hear me? Okay. Let them. Okay, thanks for confirming. I make most of the people you in a presenter mode. Now you can talk and you can say something. Can you check anybody? Simran and other people, please?
Hi everyone.
Yeah, great.
Hello everyone.
Hey everyone, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, very good afternoon and welcome once again for Kolkata Meetup chapter. Where is Suman? I think Suman left.
He'll be rejoining, he mentioned.
You can keep share your screen, Simran, and wait for another 2 or 5 minutes, max to max, and then we can start.
Sure, Prashnish.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, alright. 1 second. Screen. Yeah. Let me know if that's visible.
Yeah, it's visible.
Alright.
Perfect.
Let's wait for someone to join.
By the way, from this group, anyone is going for Dreamforce next month? Anybody from this group? Somebody? Nobody? I presume nobody. Okay.
Someone, your voice is very low, just in case you're talking.
So someone join. Yeah. Yeah, his voice is very feeble.
Project, I don't know, something's gone wrong. Can you start with? I'll just share the screen. I'm so sorry, there's some problem with my audio.
Yeah, no worries, Suman. So I think this 3-8 we can start, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, sure. Okay, so welcome everybody and very good afternoon. Once again, welcome to Kolkata Meetup chapter. Today, our topic will be Slack integration with MuleSoft, how it could be integrated with different landscape with a different vertical and as in component, as an individual PubSub model and as a REST subscription model, how that could be leveraged. Simran will be going to take care of that and convey the whole insight for the particular Slack and MuleSoft integration. And our today's speaker, obviously, with the Simran. So over to you, Simran, for uh, taking the days or taking that call over to you, and you can convey whatever you think. Yeah, please. Yeah, before we start, anyway, so we have to go with the safe harbor statement. Anybody and somebody already know about the safe harbor statement, but still being a meetup moderator and speaker, we need to convey the same message because this is not an individual organization or individual community, it's a mule community. So all the industry standard, all the insights, all the topic that completely pursue of the community build up and community spreading and convince for accordance of the community things, which is completely Salesforce and MuleSoft accordance, which is not sufficient or surveillance for any individual, any organization, or any other need. It's purely a community group. And for today's session, you all know I'm Brojeshwara. I'm Senior Technical Architect of Integration Practice of Value, and I'm one of the moderators. And alongside me, Suman is here. Alongside another two moderators here, who is Priya Shaw and Indranil. You all know them. Suman, can you introduce yourself? Whether your voice is there or not, I'm
Can you
not
hear
sure.
me
But
now?
over to you.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, but your voice is very feeble. But at least we can hear you.
Better now?
Yeah, better.
Okay, hi guys. First of all, apologies. My audio gave up on me today. But then, yeah, my name is Suman Chatterjee. I'm a senior architect in Progress Software, one of the moderators for the Kolkata chapter, and I have 15 years experience in IT, also integration, worked across different technologies like Simco, Fastparent, and now MuleSoft. And I welcome you all for today's session. Thank you.
Do we have Priya and Indranil? I believe they have.
Yeah, actually, like I'm traveling currently. So, hi all. I'm Priya and I'm currently working with LK Mindful, and I'm a meetup leader of Kolkata and Music Ambassador. Yeah, so thank you all for joining today, and yeah, we can move ahead.
Thanks, Priya. Do we have Indranil today?
Okay,
Or same him?
change the name itself.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Hi everyone. Thank you for joining firstly. So I'm Indranil. So I'm currently working as a senior software engineer at Accenture. So and also a meetup leader in Kolkata. And nice to meet you and hope you have a great session.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the briefing of all the moderators. Now, we should not waste any more time. Over to you. The platform is yours, Imran. You can go ahead and convey the whole insight for that Slack and Mule integration. Simran, am I audible?
Yes, Brother.
Yeah, please.
Sorry, I
Can
think I
you?
was speaking on mute. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining this session. Uh, Before we get started with the session, let's understand the agenda. That is, since this meetup is all about Slack integration with MuleSoft, we will be understanding, what Slack is. We'll having a little overview, how we can integrate Slack with the MuleSoft. We'll have a demo session, and we will be doing the Q&A round, and we'll wrap up this session. But before we get started with the meetup or the session, I want to know that how many of you all are aware about the Slack. What does it stands for? Well, it's an acronym. What does it actually stands for? Can we? Can you keep it posted in the chat, or maybe someone can unmute and tell it? Anyone?
Personally, I have used Slack in the communication with my clients. So I have only used it as a communication medium. But yeah, I have not integrated it with MuleSoft. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay. The question is, what does the Slack acronym stands for?
The full form.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm,
Oh, okay.
Not aware.
Not an issue. I believe Abhishek posted in the chat. Anyone else want to take this up or okay? Leave it then.
Something all communication and knowledge, but the first two late I forgot. I remember something that part.
Okay, all right. Not an issue. Let's get started since Abhishek already posted it in the chat. Let's verify. Is my screen visible? Okay, it's showing not in the presentation mode, right? Okay, fine. Let it be. So Slack stands for searchable log of all the conversation and knowledge. That is the Slack acronym, what it stands for. So basically, this is a messaging app for the business to connect people for interaction and information purpose. This company was earlier known as Tiny Spec from 2009 to 2014. This company was later acquired by Salesforce and making it the most expensive subscription software acquisition ever. So this was all about Slack. Uh, let's see how we go with the interactions. There are different ways of interacting with the Slack that are slash commands, event subscription, interactive components, and incoming webhook. Nothing but the command to perform some action. Event subscription is subscribing to particular event and making it, respond to the activity. Interactive components are like selective, the menu selection, the buttons. How do we deal with those kind of interactions? And incoming webhook is nothing but posting from an external source to the Slack. And when it comes to bots and permissions, basically to perform these kind of interactions we would need certain set of permissions uh, to perform them. So four type of interactions that we will be covering in this session: slash commands, event subscription, interactive components, and web API incoming webhooks. Before we start with the Slack interaction, we need to have access to Slack API. We need to have a Slack application created. So in order to have the Slack app created, we need to have the access to api.slack.com with certain set of permissions, and then we can get started with the Slack app creation. So we will be covering how it can be done and what can be done. But here I'm just presenting the methods and giving you an overview. In the demo part, I'll be covering everything. So Slack app creation, you would need to go to api.slack.com, and here in the portal you will see your applications, and from your apps you can start creating the application. So there are two ways to create an application or an Slack app, that is either from scratch or from an app manifest. So, what does the word suggest? From scratch means that you are not aware of what needs to be done. You will just go manually go through the process. The providing the name, the organization, the features that you want to select. But what is an app manifest? It is nothing but you're using a particular existing template wherein you are providing all the details, like what feature you need, what is the format going to be. So scratches for those who are doing it from very starting, who don't have the basic knowledge. Scratches for very newbies, and app manifest is for those who are actually fluent users in Slack, who usually work with Slack and are good enough with the templates. So what an app manifest does is it will use a JSON or a YAML format, wherein you will be providing the details, the name, the permissions, the scopes, and it is a one-step solution for the app creation. We will be covering the from scratch app creation in the session. Now, once the application is created, we generally get the Slack app details, which we will be using in our implementation. So, what we get as a detail from application creation is the API app ID, client ID secret, signing secret for the verification, and the verification token. So the verification token now is deprecated, but we can still use it. But more preferred way is for authentication or this what do you say, verification purpose, is signing secret that we generally use now. Uh, s-
Can you,
uh,
can you go into presentation? Uh,
yeah, I need to stop sharing and maybe I can reshare.
yeah.
Uh, just 1 second. Let me know once you are able to see the.
Yes.
Is it visible?
Yes, visible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So these are the basic details once you create the Slack app. And then once the Slack app is created, as I mentioned, there are four different interactive ways. The very first we are covering is slash app command, uh, wherein the slash app, basically it's a command that we are passing on to perform certain actions. So let's take an example, a use case wherein we are processing multiple records and there are failures. So what we generally do is we notify the support team for the failures, right? So support team might not be aware about the processing, how it needs to be how the records need to be reprocessed. So what we can do, we can have the slash command implementation. Obviously, before we are proceeding with the implementations, we need to have, as a prerequisite, we need to have a mule application created for both the processing and reprocessing. So in this case, for reprocessing, we need to have an implementation for that as well. So in this case, what we can do is for the support people who are not aware about back end processing, how the reprocessing need to be done. Usually, what happens is failures are notified to the support team, and they are supposed to take care of the actions. So in order for them to make it easier, neither going through the manual process, we can use the slash command, wherein they will just pass on this command and they'll be able to perform the reprocessing as and when required. So it requires nothing but your command name and the implementation URL, wherein you will be having an implementation already in place uh, for reprocessing, and you can provide your description and the hints and specific channel for which you want this application, this command to be working. That should be it, and we can have this in place. Next is, I think I'm not able to. Okay, the interactive components. So this integration is about, we generally post messages in the Slack, but how to interact with the messages that are having, say what say buttons or the drop down menus. So using the interactive component or the interactivity feature from the Slack app, we can have the implementations in place for the those interactive components. For example, I'm posting a message that I want to take a leave. HR system, we can take it as an example, that I want to take a particular leave. So I've posted it in the channel, and this is a drop down, and I want to select that, what kind of leave I'm looking for. Is it a sick leave, a casual leave, or some other? So I want that, when I am interacting with those components, I want some action to be performed. So for that purpose, say I opted for personal leave, and I want HR to be notified in particular channel that, this person has opted for personal leave. So that we can perform using the interactive component. For obviously that, we would need an implementation in place. We can simply go to the api.slack.com and go to the interactivity and shortcuts, turn on the interactivity, and have the implementation URL placed there along with the actions, and we can integrate with that as well. The next one is Slack webhooks. Generally, we are for a incoming webhooks here. So before we understand the incoming webhook integration, let's understand what is the difference in API and a webhook. Why should we use webhook, and then what all scenarios we should be using it. So basically, when we develop an API, what we do is it's a generally a sync process, wherein you send a request and you get a response back. But when we use a webhook, we generally design it for async process. Like you send a request and you forget it. It's more like fire and forget. You send a request and you forget about it, about the response. You're not looking forward for a response. For example, you're processing multiple records and you have just sent a request and you're not willing to have a response every time for the processing. So in that case, we can use webhook. Basically, you're latching onto a hook to for particular information. You posted something and you forgot it. So what happens is API, comparatively API and webhook, API is moreover secure because we are here expecting a response, and it is basically a webhook is not as secure as API. We should not be sending the secure information for webhook, and we want for any information to be posted, we can use the webhooks. Generally, webhooks are used in cases where we want to post the alerts. Uh, you just posted it. That's it. You are not you should not be using the webhooks in case of sensitive information. Yeah, that is it. Okay, and how the webhook configurations usually work. So if you go to api.slack.com and you navigate to
We lost your voice.
Simran, we can't hear you.
Yeah, you're not audible, Simran.
I think somebody muted me. I'm not sure. Okay. Am I,
Yeah,
is my
yeah,
screen
better.
visible?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
Yes.
you are
audible.
audible.
And screen, is it visible now?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Okay, fine. Let me.
You want me to share the screen?
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So where were we? Where when I mean, can somebody tell
Next,
me where I was?
yeah, next slide.
Next slide,
Can you
please.
go back to your next slide? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
here. This
Oh,
part, from this part.
all right. Should I? Okay, I'll get started again with the webhook configuration. So for webhook configuration, you would need to provide your the channel that you are connecting it with. So you need to just go to the add a new webhook to the workspace, select your channel, and then you should be good. So this once you go ahead and create the webhook, it will give you a webhook URL wherein you can start posting the message from external endpoints. So this would be the endpoint that we will be utilizing in our webhook configuration once created. Next is event subscription. Um when we should be using the event subscription is suppose we have every time there are new users incoming, so we want to subscribe to the events wherein any new person who joins the organization, a user is created in the Slack. So if we want to keep a tap on the new users coming, or say somebody posted message in particular channels, you want an action to be done on that, you can use the event subscription. You can have your implementation accordingly how you want to process it. But I'm just giving an example that if you want to get notified every time a new user is created, this is just one use case that we can use. So you want to get notified whenever a new user is created, we can use the event subscription and have our implementations accordingly. For event subscription, we would need to provide some event, that is, as I said, user creation could be one thing, or posting a message to a particular channel could be one event. So these are the events we can configure our event subscription to. And while setting up the application, we would get these tokens for the auth and the permissions. We would need these in the implementation once we are performing it. We also, when we are using the Slack connector, we would need to perform the auth dance that I'll also show in the demo as well, wherein you would just need to pass a authorized URL, and it will then give you a, it will be able to retrieve the token for the actions to be performed, say event subscription, or what else, the webhook, the other applications. Yeah. So this is it, and then I can start with the demo. I hope I would need to reshare my screen. Okay, one second. Let me know if my screen is visible.
Yeah, we can.
So here,
Yeah,
as I mentioned, we would need to get started with the api.slack.com. You need to have, certain admin level permissions in order to get started with the create application and perform the actions. So as I already have the application in place, I'll just show you the steps. We already have the application and the implementation in place. So as I mentioned, we can create the application either from a manifest or from scratch. For manifest, we would need to select our workspace, And then we would need to provide the name, what should be the app name, the settings. This is the basic structure that we would need to follow, and based on this, the Slack app will be created. It could be either in the JSON or in the YAML format, and you can proceed further. As in this session, we are only looking for the scratch creation. So herein you need to provide the application name, say new meetup. I'll keep it like that. Select your workspace, and you can go ahead and create your application. So once the application is created, you will be getting the app ID, creation date, client ID secret, signing secret, and the verification token. This is the very first step. Now for the slash command creation, I'll just simply go to the one that I already created and I'll show you. Um, Before that, we have a implementation in place. So I'll just be using the endpoints, and I've deployed the application already. So for slash command, say we have the mule meter. What it does is it will hit a endpoint. For now, this is test, and this is our test implementation. The endpoint test, what it does is it does nothing but post a message to a particular channel from the send message component of Slack connector. So this command will, what it will do, it will just simply post the message. You can modify it according to your requirement. And this is it. You need to provide the command, you need to provide the endpoint URL. And since I've deployed it here, so I have given the platform URL. That's it. And let's check for the demo. This is Meetup. So if I post this command, this will be only visible to the user who is running the command.
Simran,
Yes.
we are only able to see the settings page on Slack as well.
Oh, sorry. Let me share my complete screen then. Give me 1 second. Okay. And,
I hope my audio is better now.
yeah, it's better now, Sumit. Okay. Is it better now? If you're able to see the screen now?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So this was not visible till now, right? The meetup. Okay.
yeah.
So as we created the mule meetup slash command, what it does is as of now we have an implementation that just posts a message to Slack using the Slack connector, and once it posts the once it does is action, say it just posts a message, it will show you the individual message as well, that is success response. You will be able, the one who runs the slash command will be able to see the success response is nothing but it is saying that the message is successfully posted. This is the first implementation. And then 1 second. Second goes to interactivity. Okay, if incoming webhook we can take in place. So usually it is in the off mode. So you need to activate this incoming webhook and simply come here, select, add the new webhook. You need to provide the channel you want to integrate it with. So I already have it with Slack integration. That's it. Once you have it integrated, let me go back. I already have a webhook created, so I'm not proceeding further. This will is the last webhook that we have created. So I have an implementation in place for this as well. So webhook testing is nothing. You are simply sending a HTTP request. This implementation, what it does is it sends a message, that's it, to that particular webhook, that is message posted from webhook, and the success message will be same. So that is the second implementation wherein we are testing the webhook. So it will again does it action, that is message posting, and it will give a success response. This is the second way wherein we are using the webhook for interaction. Third is interactivity and shortcuts. So we have for interactivity, as I mentioned, HR system for say you have the leave types. This let me show you the structure. Body. 1 second. Okay, we have a structure wherein we will be sending the messages as a drop down. So this message once we post in the Slack, this is an interactive message. So in order to have a response for these, we have like vacation, sick leave, or the personal leave. We have an implementation in place. So it will select and post the message. So basically, interact for the interactive component, we have another endpoint that we are defining, which is nothing but Slack interactions. We will configure the same here in the interactivity. We will add those implementation URL, and similar for the select menus, you can use the same URL and just configure it. So as per the implementation, if I select any of it, it will post the same message here in the same channel. We can configure it if you want to post it in some different channel. You can do the same thing. So that is about the second one, and then the event subscriptions. Event subscriptions will anyways be in the off state, so you need to define your endpoint, and you need to give the bots what it should be subscribing to. And see, it says a message is posted in the channel, so it will be logging that in using that event subscription. Okay, you need to provide all the events, and that's it. So similarly, we have a endpoint. We are not doing much here. We are just having a simple logging feature for this. So whenever a message is posted in Slack channel, say test message, for now we are just logging the event for our purpose, so it always logs it in here. You can have the implementation according to your requirement. For now, event subscribing is basically about anything that is done, it will be logging. So that is it. And while you are configuring the Slack connector, these are the prerequisites that you will be doing. You will be providing your client ID, client secret, the scopes that you're using for that application, and the external callback URL will be your application URL, and you need to provide the callback and the authorized path. This should have been done at the initial. 1 second. So since we already had things done, so I did not show you at first, but for the event subscription and the webhooks and all these integration to work in place, we need to do this at very first. I'm sorry that I showed it a little later. It will authorize your organization to perform. It will successfully retrieve the token, and then all these actions will be performed. That is it about the demo. Any questions you can post in the channel, or maybe. Okay. I think I'm done. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question, Simran. So let's say for
Mm-hmm.
a enterprise need, there are multiple LOBs, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So different LOBs, though they are utilizing same Slack, but they need, let's say, we have different business group into our any one platform, BG1, BG2, and BG3. And
Mm-hmm.
depends on that, if any application is failure on BG1, based on that, I need to custom that event for a, let's say, for HR group, they needs an email. Okay. But for other business group, which is nothing but finance team, they need an email alongside a ticket, which could be sent to a, might be through a Twilio or something. From Slack, they will trigger, not from integration layer. So Slack will trigger. So that can be doable from these single integration, like multiple event could be triggered.
So you want to integrate it with MuleSoft, or you don't want anything to be done? You just want it from Slack itself. I should be able to send the email. We can integrate behind the scene, but
No,
I'm not sure.
definitely through MuleSoft because they have different BG, right? Different
Yeah,
business group they have, and all the integration layer they have for application level anything failure. For that application, definitely we have integrated with Slack. Let's say for Mule API layer, right?
mm-hmm.
So there are two things. One, they will send a notification through that Slack integration through an event. On the
Mm-hmm.
other hand, it could be a custom event. For BG1, it could be event one, or BG2, it could be event two. Is that really doable? Just I'm understanding the situation, whether that could be a preferable enterprise situation for any large customer.
Okay, British, I'll take that. So basically, when you're talking that you have multiple APIs in multiple business groups, the
Hmm.
first thing that's required or a prereq is for an event, you can only subscribe to one API. One API, sorry, one Slack API can only subscribe to one MuleSoft event. Okay, so if you have the say three APIs in three business groups, you
Hmm.
have to have three different APIs. Now these APIs
Okay.
could send out real-time alerts. That's possible. And if
Hmm.
you talk about custom alerts, there are workflows in Salesforce, in Slack that can be used. Some of these are paid versions. Twilio, if you're talking, I'm not sure if I've seen Twilio, but I do know you can create a case there in Salesforce using Slack workflows. That can be done.
Hmm.
And this can be achieved using your Slack events as well as the other Slack interactions that she's shown.
But that will need multiple event, not a single event, right?
No, per API, there has to be a separate event.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
more
Thank
of a
you, man.
one-to-one event to MuleSoft integration correlation that's there.
Got you. Got you.
If
Because that authorization will be for one to one.
yes,
All makes sense.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Got done.
Anybody, any other question?
Yeah, I have one question is like suppose I have a support group which is like basically a kind of prod support group. In that group, multiple team is there, like support team only, but there's some application API specific team. So if I wanted to notify, is there any error? But I just tag some person, like couple of person who are needed to work on that, not that whole. Like I just wanted to notify the whole group, but only wanted to tag some guy who are need to be work on that. So is it possible in a single message in Slack?
Okay. So if you want to tag, in case there is a error, um, the way if you're expecting like for a specific custom error, I say I tag John. For the second error, I tag Bob. That is not possible. But then using the API, what you can do is you can tag people, but that will be consistent. You will not be able to change them runtime on the fly. Maybe you could tag a channel. Everybody who's there in the channel, you can tag the channel, you can tag a specific person, but that one tagging will always be there. You will, if you have to change, you'll have to change the code. You cannot do that from MuleSoft API.
Okay. So when Simran is showing that like there's some custom notification is there. So in that custom notification, what is that use? Like is just a runtime body we can dynamically pass, or is or maybe the content is going to be changed for that custom notification?
Yeah, custom can be in payload, right? You can just map the payload and in a transform or a variable, you can set whatever payload you want. That can be done. But then
Okay.
when you're specifically tagging, say I'm tagging Bob or John or Ellie or somebody
Mm-hmm.
else,
Exactly.
that's a human decision, situation based decision that you're taking. Your MuleSoft API is not that smart enough to understand, okay, this is for a specific person. Yes, if that's the case, then what you'll have to do is, again, it's a bad design, but then for every different situation that's possible, you'll have to add somebody. Say if there is a type error one is one type of error, you tag one specific set of people. If the error two, like a scatter gather. But then again, how many types will you tag? It could be, if this is a business error, then it's very difficult. Technical error, you can actually will be, you can say, okay, these teams from the MuleSoft technical team can look at it. But then if it's a business error, how many will be there? And tomorrow, if one business user leaves as a new business user, again there'll be a change in the code, right? So that intelligence is still not there.
Yeah, right. But still, like we have a level one, level two error kind of style. Like SLA is defined, right? So based
Yeah,
on that
that you
SLA,
can
we
do.
can group as well. Okay.
Yeah. But then again, those will be static taggings, not a dynamic tagging.
Yeah, it's a static tagging, but yeah, like based on that situation or based on the level, we can grouping like maybe the channel is the same, but we can particularly group into it. So like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
Got it.
can be, that can be done. Again, we didn't have that use case, but yes, that can be done.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Anybody have any question? Any other?
Sorry. I have another question. Is like to API. So when we create that API, is there any limitation on that API usage?
When you ask about limitation, what's exactly that you're looking for? The usage limitations?
Yeah, the usage limitations, like in a particular time, how many times the API can be called, or is there like in a,
Information purpose, you mean?
yeah,
Okay,
right.
so basically, the usage limitation as such is not there, but there is a trick to it. So basically, whenever you create the Slack app, specifically if I talk about the Slack events, now what happens is, whenever a Slack event is triggered, the Slack app expects a response back within 3 seconds. Okay, within 3 seconds, if if you do not get back a response, it will re-trigger the same event again and again until and unless you get back a response. Okay, so that's one thing that we have seen. So the best part is, if it is asking for a 3 second SLA in the within response, try to have get the message and then get the event and then do an async processing. uh, from a API call perspective, I'm not sure. I think there could be a rate based on your subscription, but then I've not checked it. Similar, are you aware of that part?
Not really. I think there is a limit for these calls, but not aware about the exact limit. We need to look at that.
Sir, we can get back to you on this answer. If there is a specific rate limit on the number of API calls, but then the one that I said about the response time, that's a the known thing. That is something that you have to remember whenever you're interacting with Slack. It's a 3 second response. Otherwise, it goes into a repeatable infinite loop.
Okay, Simon. Thank you. Thanks for that.
I think we don't have any other question from people's side. Okay,
Yeah, bro.
thank you all. If you don't have any other question, then we can wrap it up the session. Thanks for joining. Thanks, Imran. Thanks for the great session and good insights about the integration stuff. It will be a great help for any community or any enterprise. Great stuff.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks a
everyone.
lot.
Bye.